Hello everyone, this is Shadow Dragon back with another episode of DC Universe Online. In this video I'm going to show you a quick way to complete it's more of a sure way to complete the instance-based seasonal collections. So this comes up a lot, especially at the beginning of a new seasonal, simply because people are impatient. Like often it'll be like after the first day, then someone will post that the drop rates are low, and then someone else will post that they're high, and then they'll go back and forth even though it's on day one and there's no analytics behind like one day of data. So the format I'm talking about is what we see in the most recent Valentine's Day, and we currently have this in St. Patrick's Day, where collections will drop in any instance on duty. And they drop from the final boss so that you won't get multiple from a single instance. Now, to give you an idea of how those, or how I felt they dropped, in Valentine's Day, now the length of that event is 1 month. And I ran all of my alts through their normal dailies. I didn't do anything like out of the way. I think I probably completed that on every single character, with the exception of the one in the vendor. So I'm just talking about the drops. And the drops, they seem to be somewhat even. I didn't notice a pattern in like the final one or two pieces. I didn't notice like any similarities across characters. Different characters got stuck on different ones. Which makes sense if we have to buy that last piece anyway. Like they shouldn't make us get stuck on one like they do with the other collections throughout the game. So I felt Valentine's Day dropped fairly. Like, you know, we didn't get stuck, and it's completable on any character that you just want to spend on that final collection piece. St. Patrick's Day could be a different animal though. Right now we're on, let's see, we're only 3 days in, so it's a little hard to tell. But I kind of think it's probably the same drop rate as Valentine's Day, which would basically fall short by 50% because this is a shorter event. It only runs for 2 weeks. So if it dropped at the same rate, and I complete Valentine's Day on all of my characters, this one should be completable on half. But again, it's a little bit hard to tell. Right now I'm just making sure I secure it on the account, so all the tunes I'm running are just putting the collections on my main. And currently 3 days in, Alyssa is 9 of 12, which is really 9 of 11 because we had to buy the last one. So that's actually really good. I guess account-wise, that's really good, but we have to see how many characters I'm able to finish this on. But the idea of this, and it's actually common sense, because it's going to drop from on duty. So we're going to take a look at this. Now, if you're really worried about completing this collection, you may want to adjust your schedule when these seasonals go up, at least until you complete the collection, because there are feats behind this, and you're going to want those because they're time limited. So it's a no-brainer to, like, if you have limited time, drop your normal daily routine and go farm these collections. But for me, I'm not really worried yet. Like, I'm not gonna go out of my way unless we're like at the last few days. But yeah, the common sense thing is you want to run like the short instances, because if they have an even rate of dropping across, and you're like raiding all the time, you're gonna get less drops than someone who runs all solos. So we're gonna go down the list of solos, and I'm gonna recommend like the fast ones. So starting at level 10, the Evergreen Last Son of Krypton, absolutely. You can burn through this in like 2 minutes. And of course we have to go back and consider the lower tiers. Surprisingly, some of these are going to be longer than upper tiered ones because of dungeon crawling and ability to like skip ads. So tier 1, and this is on the hero side. 8th Precinct, no. Absolutely, Mannheim's Chinese Theater. You can pretty much skip to the end and just fight the boss. The villain equivalent is like the Sentinels of Magic Citadel. That is also, it's just as fast. Meta research, no. Because there's too many pauses. Lair of Spectre, too much dungeon crawling. Joker's Funhouse, you could skip a lot of ads. So, and there's like a short cutscene at the end, so this one you probably could do, but I would prioritize Mannheim Chinese Theater. Tier 2, none of these are really fast. So yeah, I would pass up on Tier 2. Tier 3 hero side, you have Star Labs. Star on the villain side is not as skippable. So the heroes do have the advantage in Tier 3. Because you could skip like the parts with the turrets, like if you just go through the ceiling, if you're flight, or you can just grapple or just super speed on the ceiling. For the villains, I would say the Circe's Stronghold is more skippable than the hero side. So that's actually surprisingly faster on the villain side. Monarch, this one would be fast if not for the cutscenes and dialogue. So I would skip that one because there's like a long thing with the Riddler and then another one with Deathstroke. So yeah, out of Tier 3, I would take Star Labs. Star Labs hero side, Circe's Stronghold villain side. Tier 5. Now these two you farm for loot pickers because it's three loot pickers per instance, but as far as speed, I would only take Test Subject. Because the hunt has like 2-minute plus long cutscenes. So Test Subject is a lot shorter. So it's probably shorter by about 2 minutes, which is significant if you're going to farm these every day until you get the collection. Tier 6, definitely not the Iconics. Those are like fixed length. Spark of Parallax, yeah, I would go for this one. It actually has long dialogue, but there's nothing else. Like there's just a short boss fight. So this one, the combat actually outweighs the amount of dialogue in it. So you got that one in Tier 6. Tier 7, definitely not Deep Desires. And I mean, out of these two, Science Spire is much faster. And if you're over geared for this, you could kind of skip the boss phase, especially the first boss. But I wouldn't say this one is great, but if you had time, Science Spire would be okay. Tier 8, well, there's that whole beginning of Iceberg, and then there's that pause with Harley unlocking one of the doors. So this one is going to fall short. I wouldn't do anything in Tier 8. Out of Tier 9, definitely not Stemming the Tide. Stemming the Tide works out if you're farming loot pickers, because there's 2 of them, plus the bonus box, but going for pure speed, not Stemming the Tide, but you do want to do Royal Palace, because the chase, if you're going as fast as possible, is skipping the ads. This is a really fast instance. Like, even though this is Tier 9, this will actually beat out some Tier 1 instances. So yeah, those are my recommendations on the solos to run. Like, all the ones I recommend will be like probably 1 to 3 minutes each. And you have a chance to get the collection in any of those. So, definitely replace whatever you're doing, because we're at the end of the DLC anyway. So, if you're looking for something to do and you want to farm the seasonal collection really fast, just hit those up. And even though this is during St. Patrick's Day, this will go for any seasonal collection going forward that's based on duty, which is what they probably are going to keep doing, because some of the older ones are tied to like either the alert already, and if they keep adding it there, it's just going to be too many drops. Some of them are tied to open world collections, and there's a limit to what they can put there, or else it's going to look overloaded as a drop. So I imagine like a lot of the newer ones are going to be on duty based. So just hit up this list of solos. That way this video is sort of evergreen to any upcoming seasonal collection. Okay, so good luck, and especially with the St. Patrick's Day one, which is only 2 weeks. And thanks for watching.